Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Huddle Up with Mark, the Fun Coach. I'm Mark Duncan. I'm glad to be here with you. And today I want to talk about what it takes to be a good fundraiser. Now, I believe, and I've been told, I learned this very early in my career, that there are really two main prerequisites, we'll call them, that you need to possess way before you learn anything about fundraising. And that is that you need to have an unabashed passion for your organization. That has to be absolutely top of the list, because when you're interacting with donors, it has to come through that you believe in the mission, you believe in the work that you're doing, you believe in the impact that you're having on the people that you serve. And that has to come through when you are connecting with anybody. It doesn't have to be donors. You could be out talking in the community about your organization. You could be talking to your family about the organization. You could be talking to your barber or your hairdresser or whoever, right, about your organization. And they should be able to feel and sense that you're the right person to be representing the organization, that you're the right person to be leading. So that unabashed passion has to be there. Second is emotional intelligence. So what is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is understanding your emotions and the emotions of those who are in your presence. And it really is basically just overall awareness, right? So let me break this down, because there's really 5 components of emotional intelligence. The first is empathy. So naturally, many of us know how to demonstrate, and we do it innately, a sense of empathy for people. The second thing is self-awareness. We simply have to be self-aware of what we say, what we do, when it's time to talk, when it's not time to talk, when it's time to listen, when it's time to insert and answer questions, or when is it time to just sort of sit back and observe. So you have to have a sense of self-awareness. Third is self-regulation. So in addition to being aware of what is happening with you and the things that you control, but it's also important to be aware and self-regulate in terms of how you react to things. So if somebody says something, and this happens, right? I've been in situations where I've had dinners and lunches with donors, and something is said that is a little off-putting. That was said by this particular donor. And maybe they weren't very self-aware of who was in the room or what they were saying or how they were saying it. But I also had to be mindful of how I reacted to that. So that sense of self-regulation has to be present. And you cannot look like you're surprised or shocked or affected by something someone says. So you have to be able to sort of regulate how you react and how you respond, or in this case, how you don't react and how you don't respond. Fourth is motivation. If you are passionate about your organization, then the likelihood is that you are going to be very motivated to make sure that your mission succeeds. And that is an aspect of emotional intelligence that is pretty critical, right? We have to make sure that we are motivated to do the work that we do, that we're self-starters, right? That's really what that means, that we're not sitting around and waiting for things to happen, but we're making things happen. And finally, number 5, social skills, right? This is just the ability to connect and to be comfortable in a public setting, whether it's at a party or an event, or one-on-one with the donor, that you have this level of comfort when you're with people, because that will put the donor at ease and it won't draw attention to anything other than what you're focused on. And that is telling the story about your mission so that this particular donor will ultimately give when the time comes to ask. Now, if you notice, I didn't mention any of the fancy jargon that sometimes you hear in the fundraising space, things like cultivation and solicitation and uh, those kinds of usual terms that you hear in the fundraising space, right? When I talk about solicitation, I talk about making the ask. So those things are things that are things that you don't have to worry about, right? Your objective is to be real, sincere, to be authentic, to have that sense of emotional intelligence, and obviously to have that unabashed passion for your mission. Those are really the two core things that you need. The rest can be taught, right? The methods can be taught. And that is something that you need to be thinking about, because I want to make sure that you are comfortable with this whole idea of fundraising as a nonprofit leader. Just because you are the executive director does not mean you have to be the one that solicits. Maybe you bring someone else in to do that. You hire someone to do that, and you focus on the thing that you're good at, right? It is okay. You'll need to be present for some of these conversations because of the role that you serve in, but you won't necessarily have to be responsible for shepherding everything along. You will be brought in when needed to be able to talk about the organization. But I suspect those of you who are watching this have these two core competencies, right? That unabashed passion for your mission and emotional intelligence to be able to present yourself in a way that is going to not only put the donor at ease, but is going to get the donor excited about giving. Because one of the things that you have to remember is that you are a conduit between that donor and their capacity to give and your mission and how it serves the people that you serve. And in order to secure the financial resources that you need, it is your job to match make that donor's passion and interest in your mission and their capacity with your organization's needs so that they can better serve the people that you serve. Because, of course, at the end of the day, this is not about the dollars. It's about what the dollars do for the people that we serve. Thanks. We'll see you next time.